Oh, hey everybody. Welcome in. Outernet, hi. Just watching Jake, hi. Mountain Meat, hi. Sandflea, hi. Good to see y'all. We're just doing a short one today because I have some places to be in a bit. Um, I've gotta stop by 7:30, which it's almost 5 here, so I have about 2.5 hours max before I gotta go. So instead of starting something new, I figured we would finish off this Hobbit hole, which I may have slightly abandoned for a while because I didn't like it very much. So we're gonna try and pump this little area here out in the next 2-ish hours. We'll see if we can get that done. Or y'all can distract the hell out of me and we won't get it done. And then this Hobbit hole will sit strapped to this board sitting on my table for another multiple weeks. Well, thank you, Sandflea. I gave a little curl. It's doing some experiments. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's getting to a weird length that like I can't style it the way I was styling it anymore. So I either have to cut it or I have to figure out how to start styling it differently. Yeah, I will. When it's done, I will scan it, and I'm working on trying to figure out prints so that people can buy prints of my works if they want. I haven't figured that out yet. There's so many options out there, and I gotta order like samples and stuff. It's all on the to-do list, but we haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, I always this is actually small enough that it will fit in my scanner, whereas my other works I have to digitize by like photographing and then editing, which is a bit of a nightmare. But pumping hobbit holes, we're certainly pumping hobbit holes. We're pumping them right out. I felt bad because every time I had this collapsed and it was just sitting right there under Goldie's mic on our like little middle table, and I was just chucking stuff on top of it like all week, and I felt bad about it. So I figured I should finish them and put them away somewhere safe. Where is Sam for second breakfast? It's a very good question. Okay, where did we leave off on this? I'm looking at my reference right now. It looks like we got to get this area in here done. So as always with the gouache and the communal middle table, yeah, that's when me and Goldie both stream at the same time, I move my mic there beside his mic, and it's our communal mic table so that both our streams can pick up both of us at once, which works barely, but you know. It's also where I keep my alternate ears for easy access for when people redeem points. So y'all gotta have a communal middle table. It's a great place to put your bowls of chips. Just don't put them on top of your unfinished hobbit holes. It's not good for the hobbit holes. It's bad for their structures. Yeah, I don't actually know what I'm doing here. It's kind of a like brownish little shrub thing here, so I'm just gonna paint that in. I'm trying to be a little less perfectionisty about this because I'm already not that into this painting, honestly. And I think it's just that gouache ends up being a like finished texture of painting that isn't really like it's not luminous, right? It's so matte that it just takes a long time, and then for some reason it doesn't feel like it pays off the way other paints do. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I just need more practice or something, but every streamer should have access to emergency ears. I'll have to up my stores so that I have a larger variety and access of emergency ears. Did your cat ear headphones come? Are they here yet? Succeeding at slowly turning everyone onto Twitch into animal people. One viewer at a time. Not yet? Damn, I hate that when you order stuff online and you just gotta wait for them to come. That's the worst. But eventually they'll get here, and that'll be so exciting. You think you need earphones? What do you use now, Oudinet? I've been using earbuds, which is not ideal, but I can't wear over ears and my fox ears at the same time, so I don't have a choice. I think I should invest in better earbuds though, because the ones I'm using are just these like crappy little, I mean, they're not crappy, they're okay, their sound quality's not bad or anything, but they're Lenovo. I don't even know where my camera is this day. Over here, huh? Yeah, they're just like a little Lenovo set that I use, and their sound quality and stuff is good, but they always cut out on me, and it doesn't really affect the stream because you guys can't hear it, but my music like periodically just like goes like crinkly and goes away for a second and then comes back, so it's kind of annoying. So I might upgrade to something else in the future, but they do the trick. 3 pairs of phones, currently using some Sony ones. Your community got you. Well, that's nice. But yeah, the sound quality on certain games and when you're listening to music, just like, it makes a big difference. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a like fussy little baby when it comes to sound quality because I'm a raver and I'm used to things being loud, bassy, and clear. But yeah, I like having open back. When I wear my over ears, they're like open back ones, so I can still hear what's going on in the room around me. I don't like the ones that you put on and like it closes the entire world off from you. I always feel like someone's gonna sneak up behind me and scare the crap out of me or something. Sennheiser wired buds sometimes because they're minimal fuss. Yeah, the buds are just easy. I don't know. It's kind of nice to have a variety of different headphones though for different needs. It's definitely one of those tech pieces that isn't really a one size fits all for every situation. Some with a mic and closed back, expensive but useful. Yeah, I don't have any headsets with a mic. Which honestly I can think of a lot of situations where that would come in handy. I use a Blue Yeti for my stream mic. And it does the trick, but I couch game sometimes, not on console, but using my computer with like a really long HDMI cord to my projector, and then I just either take my mouse and keyboard to the couch with me, or I use a controller. And I can't really bring my mic over there, so having a like headset would be nice if I was playing competitive stuff like Overwatch or whatever. You like that mixing tray? No, it's just plastic. It's not silicone at all. It's just hard plastic. It came it's a wet palette that I bought. It came in a bunch of pieces, so it has 2 blue lids like this. The other one I'm currently using, it has all my brushes in it. And then this piece, which is like this on one side, and then I don't know if you can see the other side's just a flat mixing palette. And it came with a bunch of sponges and papers. So you can use it as a wet palette. And you wet the sponges and then the papers to keep your either gouache or your acrylic wet. I got it because I was wasting a lot of acrylic when I was doing acrylic paintings because I was taking really long breaks and everything would just dry out on me. And I just keep having to put more down, which is a really big pain in the butt. So I've actually really liked the wet palette. I haven't used it for gouache yet. I didn't think it was that necessary because you can rehydrate gouache, but for the acrylic, I found it really helpful. And it also just came with this like brush rest and stuff, and I use this so that I don't get my like wet and filthy paintbrushes like literally all over everything I own. So I'm pretty happy with it. It was just cheap on Amazon. I think it was like 20 or 30 bucks. Shotgun operators use them. You worked at a clay shooting ground. Oh, that's fun. That makes sense that you would need something that would act as like noise suppression. Headset mics usually poor. Setup you have looks and sounds very good. Well, thank you. I'm glad. I'm still not like 100% happy with my setup, but it's functional enough. And I'm pretty diligent about like checking my VODs and pre-testing my audio if I do any changes to my setup, because nothing frustrates me more than when I'm watching someone else's stream and you just can't hear what they're saying, or the music is too loud, or you just have microphone issues. So I try to be pretty diligent about it. So thank you for the positive feedback. I think my audio situation is okay right now, but my camera situation needs some serious upgrading, but we'll get there eventually. You'll look into it. Out-of-net lore, yeah, exactly. We're learning all about out-of-net. I've never fired a real gun. It sounds like fun. I do a little bit, I haven't in a while, but I do a little bit of archery, just like recreational, like target shooting archery. And I feel like clay shooting would be kind of a similar kind of entertainment. My parents are kind of like obsessed with like crossbows and BB guns and stuff. So in my parents' basement, they have like a mini shooting range set up where they just have like a bunch of BB guns and like crossbows, and we use our bows down there and stuff. I find shooting a very fun activity. Maybe one day I'll get to fire a real gun. Oh, you know what? I didn't grab any paper towel. Oops. Be right back, guys. I just need a slice of paper. Only be a sec. Very scatterbrained today. Usually I have all this setup stuff done beforehand, but I don't know why. I guess because I've been switching between mediums, so I've had to change what I get out every time I've streamed. And I guess for some reason in my mind I was like, gouache? Don't need paper towel for that. Out-net lore, what I worked at a shooting ground. It was assorted but mostly servicing and rewiring traps that were lightning struck. It's on top of a mountain. Shit commute, really? That sounds fascinating. Honestly, sounds like a very interesting job to have. 2011? 2011, I was in university. That was a while ago. Have Kells one of my blue Yetis. You gave Kells one of your blue Yetis. You have a HyperX. I haven't had any issue with my Blue Yeti. I like it, but Goldie has had issues with his, and I don't know if it's the microphone's fault or if actually no, we tested this and it isn't the microphone's fault. It's something going weird on his computer. But his like peaks to hell, and we can't get the settings right no matter what we do. It just sounds like crap. And we thought it was his mic, but then I traded them at one point and took his and gave him mine because I was like, well, just try this and see if it like rules it out. But the problem persisted and his mic worked fine in my setup. So I don't know what's wrong with his computer side of things, but he doesn't stream as much as I do, so it's not as big of a deal. But you've been a trucker since you got out of uni. A trucker sounds like a tough job. My grandfather was a trucker. Not long haul. He did like inner city trucker stuff, like deliveries and things. But driving the like big semis around Toronto. And I always thought it sounded like a nightmare, honestly. Because of my vertigo, I very rarely drive, so I see driving as a stressful thing to be doing. So if I had to do it for a job, I think I would be very out of my league. trying to get better at not dipping a brush with color on it directly into my clean colors over here. Which you can tell by this patch of brown and the blue that I've already failed at. Some very fun jobs testing arcade machines. That honestly sounds super fun too. Funnily enough, my parents are also kind of obsessed right now with arcade machines, and have bought a bunch of those like stupid new digital ones. And I have a feeling like real old school like pinball and arcade machines are in their future, and they're gonna probably be enlisting me to take care of them for them. Scientifically imploding TVs with missiles or liquid nitrogen. Okay, that sounds insane out of it. X-ray testing, 5-star hotel manager, and now professional stoner. Well, honestly, professional stoner sounds like the best possible career to have. It sounds like you have lived an extremely interesting life so far. Those all sound like very interesting careers. Some shit ones in between. Lots of a Linux admin. I mean, we all do what we gotta do to get the bills paid, right? But by the sounds of it, you career hop, which I can relate to, because I don't think I could just stay in one sector for a long time. I get bored too easily. Paid more than your degree, and you could pay off school, so you went for it and been doing it ever since. Yeah, I understand it's pretty good money, so I don't blame you. Be a lot harder, I guess, if you have like any kind of like family or spouse that like cares about you being certain places at certain times. But I don't know what your hours are like. I know the truckers that I've known have always worked like really crazy like night shift hours or long haul hours and been gone for like days or weeks at a time. You collect arcade machines, man of meat. What kind of machines you got? Give us some examples. If I was going to get any arcade machines, my like top picks would be a DDR machine, Tetris, or specifically the pinball of what is it called? Medieval Madness. Medieval Madness is my favorite pinball cabinet, and I would love a physical copy of Medieval Madness. So those are my top 3 arcade machines that if I was rich, I would go find and buy. You worked for M15. You're not like a spy or anything? I don't know, Internet. That sounds like the kind of answer a spy would give. If you were a spy, I don't think you would just hop on here and be like, oh yeah, I was totally a spy. So we're not buying it. Yeah, see, Madam Meat's not buying it either. You're home every day, but night shift. Okay, that's not too bad. You don't have to go for like days or anything. That's pretty doable. You just gotta set up your life so that all of your friends and family are also like night owls so that they don't pester you while you sleep too much. Outnet says, I think I've retired, but always electronics or computing, the bar jobs, or to fund the certifications. Interesting. I mean, good for you for retiring, though. I'm semi-retired, only in that I stopped working due to my health and have yet to return. So I'm on disability. I'm slowly clawing my capacities back, though, so maybe we'll be able to change that soon. But I've also worked a lot of strange jobs. I worked for the CRA, which is the Canada Revenue Agency. It's like the tax collection services in Canada. I worked as the project manager for a vegan cheese company. I ran a vegan cake decorating business for a while. That was my own business. I worked as the front of house manager and a marketing manager for a theater, like a performance theater, not a movie theater. What else have I done? Just silly things like I worked at a Rocky Mountain chocolatier. So I've been a candy apple and chocolate maker and seller. Had some weird jobs for sure. Atomic Punk, Taken 2, and Sega Titan, Die Hard decals, and Die Hard Arcade. Pinbot, Bride of Pinbot. Interesting. I don't recognize a lot of those. But that's all very exciting. I really like the tactility of like old school arcade machines. They feel so much better than new ones do. I used to have a Tekken, but you gave it to your friend. Tekken is probably my favorite fighting game. If only because it's one of the only games that I can beat Goldie at. I don't know why, but I always beat him at Tekken. He annihilates me at basically every other fighting game, but for some reason in Tekken I've got the upper hand. Can I say I love Mokujin? Honestly, I just envy that you have room to collect arcade games. They take up a lot of space. I definitely could have fit them in my old house, but this apartment is little and tiny. I had to make a lot of arrangements just to be able to fit my Rock Band in the closet, so. Although I guess if you're committed enough, you can always just ditch having a bed and just sleep on pillows on the floor and replace the bed area with just consoles. Tekken and Tekken 2. You tested around 2,500 in 1996. That's nuts. I don't know. You shouldn't say dates like that. I was 4 years old when you were doing that. You're so sad. Kill Unit. Why? That's a great job. That sounds like such a fun thing to test. I find arcade cabinets, especially the older ones, fascinating. I just really like the mechanics in them. Pinball more so than the arcade because it's more tactical and less digital. But I really like mechanical and like physical functions. In addition to those other jobs that I listed, I also worked in construction for a while. I have a certificate, I guess you would call, not a degree, but a like college level in heritage retrofit carpentry. So I like to woodwork. I like to mess with heritage properties. We had a heritage house that we worked on and renovated and flipped ourselves. And basically anything like that, tactile functions, I get very interested in. I just like to know how to build things, and I like to understand how things work. House is 2,300 square feet and you live alone? Yeah, you got room for it then. You can go nuts. Fill all the rooms up. We had a similar situation when we had our house in PEI. It was an old heritage house and it was very large, and at some point my brother and his girlfriend were living with us, and then at another point my grandmother was living with us. And when everyone was gone finally, and it was just the two of us left in there, we were like, okay, I think it's time to move because this is too much house for just the two of us to be living in. It started to feel a little bit gratuitous. Wait, what heritage carpentry? Fox lived a life. Yeah, I've been running around doing some crazy things before I got here. And that's not counting the like kind of 2-year hiatus from, well, actually it's pushing 4 years now. It's probably, yeah, it's four and a bit years since I was diagnosed with the vertigo that I have. And I've taken kind of a hiatus from doing anything of interest in that time. So, unless you count renovating my heritage house, because I did that with the vertigo, which don't recommend. Guys, don't like use table saws or like climb on roofs or like paint on really tall ladders when you have bad vertigo. It's not a good idea. Don't do that. Don't do that just because I did it. It's not a good idea. I don't recommend. So like strung bow saws and dowel joints. Yeah, we did. We studied both heritage carpentry in terms of like the actual structures of heritage buildings, like the building processes, and how to restore them using modern techniques that like respect the heritage architecture, but make them like functional in a modern sense. But we also did a lot of like vague, like window making, furniture making, door making, that kind of stuff. So I do have all my digits. They're all here. The fingers, at least. The toes, you'll never know. That's a secret. Gotta pay extra for that knowledge. Although my teacher in carpentry did not have all the digits. He was missing this much of one finger and like the tip of another. They were just gone because he wasn't paying attention one day and he went to plane a piece of wood through the planer, and I don't know how, but his finger went through instead of the wood, so mound of meat. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe one day. Maybe one day we'll get a crazy foot goal up, and then we'll do crazy toe tricks for you all. And you'll find out if I have all 10 toes, but we're not big enough for that yet. The toes, everyone has their price. Look, we're all here to be sluts on Twitch. That's what we're all here to be doing, isn't it? So the key is to wait until you get the highest possible price for your goods. Okay, what are we doing now? There's kind of nothing really going on here, but I'm going to just kind of paint some green grassy area in because it might come through the stuff we paint in front, and I don't want there to just be this like white pocket of unpainted here, so just gonna slap some green in there. Quite true. Did you think this was all straight-laced and clean cut? No, absolutely not. I know better than that. I know what the internet's like. We're all a bunch of nefarious, devious little weirdos. That's cool. That's fine. I got no problem with that. Only have 30 followers and 1 stream. Well, Mound of Meat, you gotta pump it up. Come on, get streaming. And then maybe you, too, one day can threaten to show people your toes. Should stream the road from the cab meet using a phone, except for a mound of toes. Mound of toes? Oh no. I don't know about a mound of, like, loose toes, like just a pile of loose toes. I mean, I'm sure there's a market for that somewhere, but get in trouble. You do some, if you should have mound of meat, come on. You better be behaving out there on the road. Safety better be your first concern, lest you end up an actual mound of meat on the highway. I think I'm gonna just make up a bush or two to stick here, because I think this other stuff is not, oh, actually there is like a little, never mind, there's like a little lilac bush here that I'm gonna put in. My layout on this wasn't very precise, purposefully so, kind of. And so I can't follow this exactly and expect it to make any sense. So I'm gonna put that little lilac bush in there and maybe put a couple little grassy looking things so that this makes a little bit more sense. You can only dream. Do not lose toes. You watch too much Netflix. I actually I don't really watch Netflix anymore because I'm one of those people who refuses to pay for my own streaming accounts, and I mooch off of my brother's accounts because he's a sweetie who allows me to do so. But then Netflix cracked down on us and was like, you guys can't share accounts anymore. So now I don't watch any Netflix. So my mind going straight to piles of toes has nothing to do with my Netflix consumption. It has everything to do with just a brain that doesn't work the way it should. Okay, let's put these guys in. Quit all of it when you moved here about 2 years ago. You just watch Twitch and Discord with a little YouTube. You even use Spotify for free in Discord. Ooh, very smart. I use Spotify for free because my brother pays for that too. Him and his girlfriend use the family pass because it's cheaper than them having single accounts, and so he had bonus accounts that he gave to me and Goldie. He's a real one. I appreciate the hell out of him. But we still watch a bit of garbage TV. We have a bad habit of watching reality TV, so we follow like Survivor and crap like that. Oh no, what have I done? I've gotten yellow everywhere. Where did that even come from? Didn't get that on anything important, did I? Yeesh. We're here to finish the Hobbit hole, not wreck it. Yay. You listen to music alone, you tend to use Icecast or Shoutcast stations. Interesting. I'm a little bit used to having the Spotify now, and I don't know if I could go back to not having it. Although I don't listen to as much music as I used to, especially now that, well, I guess now I've figured out how to have music on while I'm streaming. But I used to, when I was like doing construction and like different hobbies and stuff like that, is when I would listen to the most music. And so lately I just haven't been driving a lot, I haven't been traveling a lot, and so I haven't had a lot of music listening time, so. Which is a shame because I am very much a music lover. Very clumsy today. I keep dropping brushes, dipping my hands in things. I feel like I say that every day though. It's like, oh yeah, today is the problem. It's not me. It's not that I'm just clumsy and I drop shit a lot. It's that today I'm clumsy. It's just an unlucky butterfingers of a day. You also have a terabit in MP3s you've collected. I don't blame you for that. I have a small collection of MP3s on my external hard drive that are the rips from my iPod from high school. Because there's a lot of stuff on that, like demos from bands and stuff that you can't really find anymore. And also like music friends made and stuff like that, that when I got rid of my iPod because it finally bit the dust, I just couldn't, imagine not having access to some of those versions of songs and some of the stuff my friends had made anymore. So I took the time to take it all and put it all on my external. And there it sits. Sometimes I listen to it. I keep meaning to upload a couple of them to my Spotify, or at least to my phone, so that I have them when I'm in the car. But honestly, I should get my car has a CD player still, so and I do use it occasionally, so I should get a what's it called? A pack of blank CDs and burn some CDs for the car. I can't type face being aggressively sat on by cat. It's a good way to be. You can't move them. That's the rule. If you have a cat and they sit on your head belongs to the cat now. So it's just the way it works. When you have a pet and they want part of your body to be your pillow, you just gotta do it. Don't have a choice. She is still very, very bitey. Death by cuts. There's nothing wrong with a little bitey. What's the matter? You can't handle a little bitey? I think cat should be spelled with a TW. Now, if you really believe that, I don't think you'd have a cat. Okay, and then there's just some miscellaneous green crap climbing around in front of this. Stick a couple leaves in here and there. And then hell, let's put in a bush. Why not? We have that allowance. It's our painting, and we can put a bush in if we want to. I don't know why I'm mixing this with the world's smallest brush. A little, yes, this one's chunky and the size of an ocelot. Lots of vids in your Discord. You've had a few cats, dogs, chinchillas, etc. Never had a chinchilla. My family had a couple cats and a dog, and then I had a dog. And I've had rats. I've had not guinea pigs, gerbils. I've had gerbils. And I think that's it. Oh, I've had like fish. My dad was really into aquariums when I was little, so I grew up with like probably 30 or 40 aquariums in my house at any given time. So we had a lot of like newts and fish and stuff like that. I always liked chinchillas though. I liked watching them when friends had them or at the pet store or whatever roll around in their little dust baths. Oh, and I had a bearded dragon. I forgot about Gandalf, my bearded dragon. I had a bearded dragon for a while. He was a sweetie. Currently got a 90-year-old bloke in a shade? What's a shade? Downstairs, Gerbil's very cool rats. Nice but stupid. I don't know. My rats are pretty smart. Well, one of them was evil and mean and awful. He was not smart. He was just cruel and rude, and we had to keep him separated because he was mean and would bite literally anything that moved. But one of them was really sweet, and you could just carry him around, and he'd like just sit for you, and he'd hang out in your lap and chill. And I don't know, he was just the biggest sweetie. I really liked rats. I mean, I guess compared to like a cat or a dog, yeah, they're stupid, but compared to like other animals, mice and stuff, they're pretty smart. Hamsters I've never had, but yeah. Also, all like rodents, their like lifespans are just too short, and it becomes like too sad too quickly that they don't live very long. And rabbits are twats, really? That's a shame. I've always wanted a rabbit, but I want a big rabbit. If I was gonna get a rabbit, I want a Flemish giant. I want it to be the size of a small dog. Oh, cage, I see. Let's try and get some of these posts painted in. Gouache just feels so slow sometimes. I am pet free now for the first time in a long time because I lost my dog in October. Um, and on one hand, it feels very weird to have a house without any pets in it. It does not feel right. And it doesn't quite feel like the same kind of a home as it feels when you have a pet who cares whether or not you come back. On the other hand, I can now leave the house and not have to think about any responsibilities, which is a little freeing. It means I probably will get to go on a lot more trips this year and do a lot more crazy things. You know, the other day on stream, I was saying that Panic at the Disco was the first concert that I ever went to, and I just realized that I lied. The Ataris was the first concert that I ever went to. I just kind of forgot that it even happened. I saw these guys when I was in, I think, seventh grade. It might have been eighth grade, but I think it was seventh grade. And they played in like this crappy little pub at my town. And my mom made my brother take me because she didn't want to go. But I wanted to go. So my brother took me. And it was a good time. It's just weird because I remember at the time thinking, man, these guys are old. Which like I mean they're not young now, that's for sure. Atari's is kind of prime, like, happy summer music for me. They make me want to go to the beach. Changed my appearance again? Did I? Do I look different than normal? Curled my hair. The curls throwing you off? Chef? Welcome in, Chef. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Where you been? Getting up to no good out in the real world? I gave a couple of those poems you mentioned a while back a read. So I can report back. You don't know what is throwing you off? Oh, is it maybe it's the lipstick? Red lipstick, maybe? I don't usually wear lip anything, so. You've been very good. I don't know. I don't know if you have. For all I know, you've been out there absolutely up to no good. You have? You didn't do any crimes at all? Okay. For the record, there's plenty of things you can get up to that are no good, that aren't illegal. You paid taxes even? I just did my grandma's taxes and I gotta do my own still, so you're actually ahead of me, because it's getting close. It's taxing time. You did those in moderation, though? Well, as long as they were in moderation, as long as you were being responsible with your mischief, then I fully support it. Points a finger at painting. Art? It's maybe art. It's not art. It is definitively a hobbit hole. It's slow and steady. Problem right now is that this area up here is like right in the foreground, so like the details kind of matter, because unlike the areas in the background that like you can kind of just blur your eyes over and not care about, the little intricacies of leaves and stuff up here will actually need to read. And I don't know how much patience or time I have to put little details in there. Like I said, we have until 7:30, so it's 5:41 now. We're slowly moving across, but probably not at speeds good enough for what we're trying to get accomplished. What I need is a detail brush that is bigger than those guys, but not too big. This guy might work. Looks wonky illustration because the foreground is out of focus. Yes, that's true. But it's not done so. Yeah, this everything is done except for like here. This little corner needs to get finished. We're slowly sweeping our way across to get her in there. And then we can decide if anything needs tweaking in the end, but honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I was like very close to just scrapping this and not finishing it because I wasn't having that much fun working on it. But it just looked so darn sad all unfinished that I felt like I had only a short amount of time to stream today. I might as well dedicate it to this guy. Thought about making emotes or something instead digitally today since I only had a short time to stream. And then I realized that I haven't set any of that up on Streamlabs as a possibility, and I was like, I'm not doing that. Don't have time for that. The sweep across method. You also sweep across. I do with gouache. I find because of the way you gotta work in layers with gouache, uh, it's easiest to work from the thing in the most far background to the thing in the most far foreground. So that's the concept to why I'm kind of putting background things in, layering fence stuff on top, layering front thing, and then just hopping over to the next area and doing the same thing over and over again until eventually we fall off the edge. You're not keen on Streamlabs? It's what I've been using, and I haven't had any issues really with it so far. What do you use out in it? Vanilla OBS. That's what I used previously. And by previously I mean like years ago, when we briefly were dabbling with streaming, and then we kind of fell off the train, as you do. And I didn't mind it. I don't remember why I opted for. I did some kind of research before I set all of this up this time, and there was a reason why I opted for Streamlabs over the vanilla OBS, but I don't remember what it was anymore. 420? Is it 420 where you are? That doesn't seem right. That doesn't make any sense. It's 5:45 here, so you would have to be in some strange time zone that is like only 15 minutes or 30 minutes? 26 minutes off of mine? Sometimes I do the ground and then the sky, though, and that's just crazy. That is crazy, chef. You dare? When we did some, what's it called? Cloudscapes the other day, at the end, we, like, went back in afterwards and cut some sky areas in at the very end. And it felt very wrong. I don't know if I liked it. It felt strange. Sometimes I turn the painting upside down and the sky is the ground. Okay, now you're going too far. That's too avant-garde for me. I'm not that cool. I can't handle that kind of thing. tend to uncomplicate where I can. Ended up making my own assets using a web browser and some CSS. That makes sense. I mean, I still talk like a streamer. I don't do it often. To be fair, if you have done it often at any point in the past, then that knowledge sticks with you. It's really hard to find the time to do it regularly, I find. I don't know if that's just a me experience or if all streamers find this, but it's not like a normal job, right? Where there's really someone directly relying on you if you don't show up. And so it's sometimes just hard to convince yourself on a day when you're like, do I want to have people see my face and hear my voice right now? I don't know. I don't know if I want that right now. And then you don't, and then once you don't do it for like a couple of days, it gets a lot harder to get back into it, and then, I don't know. It can be tough. So I don't blame you. You're a rebel? Yeah, I know you're a rebel, Chef. That's why I asked if you were getting up to any mischief. Because I know you're a bad boy and a rebel. And everywhere you go, you get up to mischief. First stream was April 2002. 4 hours, no one watched. That's usually how first streams go. I'm sure my first stream, nobody watched. I don't really remember. My first stream ever would have been on a different account than this, so I can't actually check, but 23 years later and no one watched my last stream either. What were you streaming? You as a streamer like have to have consistency, or I feel like progress just like doesn't stick. Which is really annoying because like, especially with situations like mine where I have like health problems, consistency is just something I am awful at. I see people saying all the time, like, oh, the easiest way to grow is to just set a schedule and always stream the same 2 times or whatever every week. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. That is outside the realm of things that I can or am willing to do. So I show up when I feel like painting and have time to. And that's about it. So far, though, this time around streaming, I have been a lot more dedicated to it, and I've had a lot more fun, and the fact that the art community is so sweet, and there's actually people to talk to makes it a lot more easy to convince myself to actually hit the go live button a lot of days when I'm not sure if I actually feel like it, so. You can't help it, you're like a mouse with cheese. Thanks, Schmuckleberry. You're the second person to say you liked the palette. It's part of the wet palette that I bought. It's just off Amazon to use to keep my acrylics wet. And it just came with this center portion that has like a little palette-y situation in it that I figured I would use today because my porcelain one that I usually use is not where I usually keep it, and I didn't want to look for it, so I don't know what I did with it. I must have cleaned it the last time I streamed Gouache and then just abandoned it somewhere, and now I have no idea where it is, so the gray palette it is. It's kind of nice though. I like that the gray tone of this one keeps your like understanding of the colors you're making a lot more neutral than with the white. But yeah, it was just cheap on Amazon. If you look up wet palettes on Amazon, it's on there. At least I'm on the Canadian Amazon. I don't know about the US one, but I assume they would have it in the US if they have it in Canada. And yeah, it came with a bunch of sponges and sheets to use it as a wet palette, and a 2 blue covers that you can use as extra palette space, and a brush rest. And yeah, I don't know. It's just good. I like it. It's very good. It's small too. I don't like huge palettes when I'm working with like watercolors and gouache because it's a waste of space for me, so. All different. I know lots of people who go hard at it like 3 times a week for 6 months and then burn out and vanish for another 6 months. Yeah, I can see that. I've even taken like a week off, and like it really is a lot harder to come back when you've taken any step away from it, even if it's only for a week. So I can see like you get tired, you take a break, and then it just all of a sudden it just becomes a lot harder to hit that button. Don't need any more art supplies. Yes, you do. If you paint with acrylic at all, which is what I tend to paint with, honestly, buying a wet palette like changed the game for me. I wasted so much paint before, and this thing saved like a ton of paint from going in the garbage, because it genuinely does keep my paints pretty wet. I think it's marketed as a for people who paint minis like Warhammer. But for me, it just works perfectly. I don't know. I like it. You stopped for 36 months, but you're still working on building it up again if you can. You just gotta hit that button, Odanet. That's all you gotta do. Just keep hitting that button. Actually, I don't know if I follow you. Let's take a little look, see why don't we? Why don't? Well, look, there you go. You're getting new followers already just through networking. And 834 followers ain't bad. And it looks like, based on your VODs, that you've been consistent lately. Sometimes you just have those streams where, like, there's nobody around for some reason. It can be kind of disheartening, but you just gotta do it anyway, and you gotta subject yourself to just having to monologue to nobody for a while. It sucks, but it's what you gotta do. It's a rare opportunity to be heard. I think you do. Oh, you pay me later. You don't have to pay me. You just have to stream so I can watch. I'm biting off more than I can chew with the number of people I'm following on Twitch now. Especially streaming, like I've met so many like interesting and cool people that I have started following a lot more people than I used to. And I've just spent a lot more time kind of lurking in the like art and craft and fitness, what's it called? Browse tabs. So I've found a lot more streamers that I follow, and my follow list is getting a little on the long side. And it's gotten to the point where there's certain streamers where like I now get sad if I miss their streams, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm not watching TV anymore, and I'm just watching Twitch because I am now committed to these streamers. But honestly, it's a more fulfilling way to waste my time, I think, than just watching TV or whatever is, because it feels social, at least when you're active in chat or whatever. And if I'm not being social and active in chat, then at least usually I am, I have it on my second monitor and I'm working in the background, so I'm being more productive than I am when I'm watching TV. But no one is born famous except the people who are literally born famous. Yeah, we can't all be like that. Not that lucky. Although I don't know if famous is the end goal for streamers. I mean, I guess like to make money you need viewers, and to have viewers you need fame. But if only there was a way around it. Smaller community streams, honestly, like are kind of where my heart's at. I watch a couple people who have really large communities, and the fact that you can't really know your like viewers and your chat just like flies by, it doesn't seem as nice to me as having like a small group of like, I don't know, like 20 people to just hang out with while you're streaming. But on the other hand, monetization though, being able to be monetized it's worth it. Watch the specific shows I want to watch, but there aren't very many of them. Yeah, I've run out of ones that I'm like that committed to. Stop slouching, you goblin. Oh boy. Thank you. I am a little slouchy. It's just in my blood to be like crumpled up. I don't know. Got the world's worst posture. Okay, I am sitting up straight. Very straight. Straight as an arrow. No slouching here. It's hard to be a person who sits up straight. I know a couple friends who, like, when they sit in a chair, they just sit like straight in the chair with like their back straight and their neck up and straight. And then I see myself in a mirror sitting somewhere and I'm literally just like this, just curled into like a horrible little goblin ball. That's just my default state. And considering how many neck problems I have and how all of my health problems are tied to my neck problems, I should probably be more diligent about not doing that, but who's got time for that? You guys would be horrified if you saw my posture when I'm gaming games like Overwatch. It's an actual nightmare. I curl up into a little ball with my knees up and crouch over. Okay. I am having itchy contact syndrome right now, so I'm going to take a quick little 3 to 5 minute break and get myself a tea and go put an eye drop or two in because my contacts are bothering me and I don't want to take them out right now, so I need eye drops. So I will be right back, guys. Give me just 5 minutes. I'll run this silly little ad break while I'm gone too. Be right back. Okay. I think I'm all fixed up now. Now we need to, what do we need to do here? We need to get this big bush in right here. This big guy. Get a bigger brush involved for that, I guess. Say bigger, like I'm not still using a bunch of like extremely tiny brushes, but compared to what we were using, this is bigger. I'm gonna lay deep green, some blue in there. Deep green base down. So that we can see this come up through upper layers. Grab our handy dandy fan. Gotta work faster if we want to get this done on time. Which is what I'm always saying. It's very peculiar, isn't it? It's also like, it's almost like I'm historically slow. This eye drops made me feel like I'm crying. It's just so sad. Just so sad. How's my stream health looking today? Probably risky to mention it at all, but you know, we haven't had any downs yet. And it says it's excellent. Don't know if that means it's gonna stay that way or not, but okay. Now just imagine oil paint would dry this quickly. Oh, what we could get done. Okay, now we just have to mix up a nice bright yellow forward green. And we are going to pack a bunch of this in. Try and leave a couple little gaps so that that dark color still comes through. Otherwise, just pack her all in there. Start blocking in a little bit of this dark area in the front here. Please excuse the beep boops of my Discord. I cannot make it shut up without logging out, which seems like too much work for me. So you're just gonna have to listen to it, unfortunately. I see now that I should have brought this a little bit further over. Can go back in after and do that. Just trying to get a couple of these dark areas snuck in there. We're gonna have a big bush that lives like right, I don't know, here-ish. So we'll block that whole area in as a bush as well. And then we also have to get a couple things down here. So there's going to be a bush here. And then this area underneath has got to read as dirt. So I'm just going to kind of dab some scrumbly textures in there. I don't know why I had an urge to listen to this playlist of mine today. It's my camping playlist. This is the playlist that I put on when I go camping. Because it's kind of quiet, mellow songs. Somewhere in between indie and emo. Just good campfire. Peaceful campfire music. For some reason, that's what I was about today. Not sure why. Maybe because it's spring, I have a hankering to go camping. I didn't get to go proper camping at all last year. I went like during music festivals, like camping music festivals, but I didn't go like proper in the bush camping. And it was a sad year because we didn't get out to it. So this year I have to actually get to the woods. I live near a larger park in Ontario now. When I say near, it's still like probably a 4-hour drive for me, but I'm looking forward to getting to spend a couple weekends camping out there and getting some hikes and stuff in. It's been too long. I'm an indoor soft boy, but someday you'll learn to at least tolerate nature. You don't have to go like crazy like backcountry camping. Just car camping is like plenty good fun. Go for a couple low effort hikes, see some pretty places. And then the real thing is just that you want to have the like campfire at night, where you get to eat a lot of crap that you can roast over the campfire and play silly games like 20 Questions and listen to your camping playlist. My family's not a big like vacation family. My whole life when we like did vacations in the summer, we'd either go on road trips or we'd go camping. We didn't really do like, oh, we're going to, I don't know, Europe, or we're going to a resort or something like that. We never did that stuff. We never even went to like Disney or anything like that. We just went camping and went on road trips together. And most of the road trips were camping road trips. And I don't know, I really like it. I like having the excuse to see new parks and to go on the hikes at them. It's just a good time. Do love roasting and questions? Well, then maybe you'd like it. It's not really that complicated. You just need a tent and something that doesn't suck to sleep on. And as long as you have those things, then honestly, it's just a sweet, fun little romantic thing to be going to do. Painting a tiny little red pot in here right now. Whether or not that's a necessary detail, I don't know. But I see him in the picture, so he's going in. Whether he wants to or not. But also the good campgrounds usually have water access. They're either on lakes or on the ocean, and then you go swimming. I really like the outdoors. When we had our house in PEI, I was very into gardening as well, so just like being outside. This year goes the way you think it will. You'll want to visit some state parks. I know my husband is planning a lot of abroad trips, but you're skeptical. I don't know, that sounds like fun to me. I love travel. I'm a very like wanderlust soul, I think. It's part of why we move so often. I don't do great staying in one place for long times. I get bored and antsy, and I can never commit myself to staying put. And if you go on lots of little camping trips or trips abroad, it helps diffuse that bug. A perfect world for me, I would be just constantly traveling. But that's not very cheap. So this year I think we'll get to do a little bit more than we have in the past, which I'm very much looking forward to. Brazil, Luxembourg, and possibly the DR if we have time. I went to the Dominican Republic last year. My spouse Goldie, his dad used to be obsessed with Cuba, and then that obsession turned into the Dominican Republic, and so he goes on trips to the Dominican Republic like multiple times a year. And every couple of years he pays for like a family one where me and Goldie's brother and his spouse all go with Goldie's dad and his girlfriend, and the six of us go together to the Dominican Republic. So we went last year, and honestly, it was a bomb time. I'm not a huge resort person. Like, it's not, I would never pay my own money to stay at a resort. It's just not really the kind of travel that I would invest my own money in. But honestly, it was just a really good time. It was in the winter, and we got to like swim and be in the summer sun and hang out and laugh, and it's just a really good time. I had a great ass time. Even met a bunch of friends there that I still keep in touch with, which is weird because I'm not a very social individual. But somehow we made friends with a bunch of people we were there. It's very strange. Very strange for me. Never trip abroad. Why not, Mound Me? What's wrong with tripping abroad? We love the Goldie lore. The accepting of like a trip of that magnitude from your like in-laws is a bit weird. But I guess my parents shell out for Goldie a lot too, so it goes both ways. But it always seems like too big of an offer when I go on those things with them, but it means a lot to his dad, so what are you gonna do? Say no? His dad's really funny about those trips. He's a very favorite recurring character. I think he's the only recurring character so far. His dad is quite the character. He's very particular and like over prepared for things, and these trips that we go on with him and the ones he takes himself, he way overpacks for and has like an insane list of like everything you could ever possibly conceive of needing on vacation. To the point where like sometimes it like goes a little bit past like funny and into the realm of annoying when he asks you for the like 14th time that month if you like have remembered to pack like 4 bottles of sunscreen in case like you use up one, you lose one, and like he's just a little much with that stuff sometimes, though he means very well. But it was so funny, absolutely hilarious. The last time we went, he gave us all these lists of things we should make sure we don't forget, and we were very like, yeah, we'll make sure, we'll check, we got it covered though, don't worry. And then when we arrived, it turns out that despite all of his careful and insane planning, the man had managed to forget to pack any underwear, and he had to go his whole 2-week vacation with no underwear. So sometimes, you know, you try and be over-prepared for something. It's just going to distract you into forgetting the most basic and most important of the items that you should have, so. I don't know if he learned his lesson or not, though. The old folks shower us in generational wealth. Amen. Absolutely. I still feel a little guilty when I go back to my parents' house and I'm like, so I can have these, right? Like these groceries that you bought, like I'm bringing them home with me because I need them more than you do, okay? Like cheese is not something I can just afford, so I'm taking yours with me. And they're always like unreasonably sweet about it, and my parents are like, just super giving and super generous, and they'll like take me to the grocery store and buy me whatever I want and like stock us up, basically take us to Costco and let us buy a like ungodly amount of peanut butter. But you gotta do what you gotta do, man. They've got the money and we don't, so you just you pay for it and visiting often. You'd love to diagnose this man. You're not even a psychiatrist. Same though. He's got some quirks. Goldie's parents are both very quirky. I mean, I guess everyone's parents are quirky. My parents are quirky too, but they're not as they're not quirky in the same way that Goldie's parents are quirky. They're a lot more normal than that. But yeah, he's the one thing he told us to pack that I was like, you know, that's crossed the line from like, okay, you're an overpacker into you might be certifiably insane. And that's that he packs a paintbrush with him, like a big like 2 or 3 inch paintbrush, like you would paint walls with. And he was like, you know why I bring this? And we were like, no, I don't know why you bring a 3-inch paintbrush with you to a resort in the Dominican Republic. And he was like, because you leave the beach and there's sand on your feet. So you can stand at the edge of the beach where it turns back to resort, and you can use the paintbrush to brush the sand off your feet. And that to me was like the line of like, no, you are actually like crazy though. It's not just like, oh, he's quirky. It's like, no, there's something not right up there. In case a wall gets damaged, right, you gotta paint it. But yeah, and then he like was incredulous when we like went to the beach with him and his girlfriend and came off the beach and he was standing brushing the sand off his feet with his paintbrush and was like, anybody else want to use the paintbrush? And we were all like, nah, we're good, fam. Like, I don't need that. I don't need that right now. That's not on the list of problems that I need solved. Um, but I mean, if it makes his trip better, then I totally respect it. Like whatever you bring that brings you joy and makes you happy, go nuts. But those guys always travel with like two like big, full, like over full, over heavy, like checked baggages with like way too much stuff in them. And then when Goldie and I travel, we each take like a small backpack. We never check bags. Like I'd rather do without than have to bring too much crap with me. And so I think we're just very different in the like style of what we value when traveling. But yeah, very funny indeed. I both Goldie and I love that man, but it's just sometimes hard. It's hard to relate to and humor the kinds of things he cares about. He says tender little feetsies. Makes her autism happy, though. The idea of having a special tool to make sand more tolerable. He's a death helmet. Yeah, he's pretty high functioning if he is a little neurospicy, but there's definitely some habits that I think did he look into it, he wouldn't walk away with no diagnosis, but yeah, he's very regimented in certain things, which I cannot relate to. I am the opposite of regimented. Anything being regimented just makes me bored. I like to figure things out as I go. I like to play things by ear. I like spontaneity and change. I get bored too easily. But it's so interesting, the people in your lives who you can get along with really well and you love to death. But you just have such differing like needs and opinions and tastes and stuff. Me and my brother, I'm always so amazed because we were raised by the same people and we have like the same DNA pool coursing through our veins. But we're just very different people, and we get along really well. But despite that, like he's a homebody who doesn't like to go out, who doesn't like new things, who only eats pizza and chicken nuggets, and like the opposite of experimental. He's not chatty. He's not. He just likes to go to work, come home, play video games, go to bed, and like that's his deal. And I respect the hell out of that. But like, if that were my life, I would go insane. Like, I would be so bored. I would lose my mind. Um, and he doesn't handle like pressure or conflict or any kind of like chaos well, whereas I thrive in all of those kinds of situations. So I don't know. I don't know. You can have the same DNA and be raised the same way and still just end up completely different people. And despite that, still get along really well. It's just all very interesting. Speaking of bored, I should figure out dinner. I thought a tenderloin and have spinach and corn yucca mash. That all sounds good. Pork tenderloin was one of my favorite foods before I stopped eating meat. My mom would make this like sweet and sour pork tenderloin when I was younger that I was very, very about. My dinner tonight will be a extremely gourmet and not at all pathetic bowl of leftover spaghetti. So when I am done streaming, I am going to microwave a lovely bowl of leftover spaghetti. And I don't want to hear anything about how pathetic it is to eat leftover spaghetti. Okay, we need to put something here because can't stay uncovered. In that picture, there's like this pink thing. I guess we'll leave it and then we'll put this spindly pink thing over the top after we get the fence and everything painted in. And then I need a little tiny shadow on this pot. Better not hear any 3 doors down hate from the chat. I know some people have some opinions about dad rock, but you can come at me if you think this isn't a good song. Slow and steady, am I right? We got an hour. We got an hour. Less slow and steady. More fast and silly. Don't have a choice. Gotta go faster. We just gotta. Gotta drink this tea so that I can stop holding it and trying to convince myself to drink it. I let it go, like, I let it get, like, slightly too cold. And it's not as easy to drink once it gets slightly too cold. But I poured it, which means I gotta drink it. And I'm not getting up to microwave it, so. Yum, yum. Okay. Let us try. Something about this door that seems like a little bit too bright to me or something. Putting a little layer of brown tone on there to try and tone it down a little bit. Song is from the Wolf Children soundtrack. And anyone who hasn't seen Wolf Children, I would highly recommend giving it a try. Although it is sad as shit. I think a lot of people haven't seen it, even in like the anime communities, because its cover and its trailer vibe vary in the direction of furry, and that scares a lot of people off. But the art in it is fantastic. The music in it is fantastic, and honestly, the story is really good. And I will admit, it has like 5 to 10% furry sprinkled in there, but not in a way that doesn't feel relevant to the story. So, if you haven't seen Wolf Children, give it a try. You might like it. Just saying. It's pretty good. Okay, let's throw some of these little purpley flower guys in the tips. Not doing a very good job at keeping my palette sprayed down today. I don't know why. Keep forgetting to do it. These flowers are a lot more in the pink direction than the purple direction. I can zoom you guys in just a little bit. I feel like all this detail work, you probably can't even see what I'm doing. Yeah, slightly better. It's as good as it's getting. Okay. Just a couple little red sticky bits. And then we will just mix some white into all of that. More than that. And then just put this on the very tippies of the flowers. Okay. Doing pretty good. What do we need next? This area in here needs a little bit of darkness, I think. Just gonna put some miscellaneous little darker patches. Some of this will get covered up, but in case it doesn't, just put some plants in to take up some of that space. This one kind of pushing through this. There's going to be another bush thing right here. Add a bunch of blue. Into that just to make the undertone different than the bushes beside it. Once again, I don't know why I'm doing this with the smallest brush known to mankind. Should not be. Thanks, Schmuckleberry. We're getting there. Slowly. It's slowly getting filled in. It's just taking its time. I know, we're so close. We only have like less than an hour though. Maybe realistically I could stretch it to an hour. Just gotta start working faster. I keep saying that and then I don't work any faster. I think I say it in the concept that it would be nice if I could work faster, but I think I actually really only have one speed. Just started using casein. It's a lot like gouache. Really, I've never really heard a lot about casein. I know it's like uses like in older painting, but not as like a modern medium. Is it rehydratable like gouache is? Does it? What's its deal? I know basically nothing about it. But I would be interested potentially in trying another new medium out because I'm still fussing around to try and figure out what my actual preferred medium is. And I still think we haven't quite found the match for me yet. Maybe that's the thing though. Maybe I have no match and that's the answer. I'm destined to just jump medium to medium forever. We have to fill in these little peaky holes before we do the actual fence, because it'll just be easier to do it in this layer than to try and put details in after the fence has been added. Pretty much the same as gouache, has more body, feeling of oils. Oh, interesting. Using milk protein as the binder. I would be interested in what it would feel like to paint in a gouache style, but with a thicker consistency. I might look that up, watch some people paint with it, and see if it looks like something I'd enjoy. The really thin consistency of gouache and watercolor, it has its benefits, but it also sometimes, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like you can be as painterly with it as you can with oils or acrylics because you can't really lay it on thick. So I would be interested in that. Casein. Is there a brand that makes it, or do you have to make it yourself? Got a set on Amazon. Because out of acrylics, I wanted to try something new. Interesting. Yeah, I'll look it up. Like I said, I want to watch a couple people paint with it and see what it looks like. How do you like it compared to acrylics? I've been fighting the I miss my acrylics problem with all the mediums I've been dabbling in. I just keep comparing them to the way that I use acrylics, and I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around the different methods and committing to them. It takes a couple paintings in each medium for me before I can really like get set in the way I'm supposed to be painting with them. Conceptually, at least. Realistically, I guess you can paint however the hell you want with whatever you want, but to get the like successful results I strive for, I have to be able to reset my brain when I use a different medium, and I don't think I've been particularly successful at it yet. Jack Richardson. Okay, I'll look it up. Mixed with acrylics and gouache. Interesting. And it's cheaper than gouache. That is all very interesting. I'd love to know what mixing it with acrylics would be like. It's surprising how expensive tube gouache is. I guess it's not a very common medium, so like Michaels and the like bigger name paint stores just don't carry a big selection of it. You can get a decent amount in the like Hemi sets and stuff of gouache for like a reasonable price. But something about having like open, unsealed pots that you have to keep hydrated and mix up with regularly just doesn't seem that appealing to me. I like being able to just dispense it from the tube and be done with it afterwards. Um, Otherwise, I would cave and try one of those like cheaper Hemi sets, but I don't love this gouache that I have. It's a Winsor & Newton set, and I just feel like its pigment load is really low. It's very sheer for gouache. I've used other brands before, and this one just, I don't know, seems sheer. I know people have been whining a lot lately that Winsor & Newton has gone really downhill, and I didn't really notice a difference personally with acrylics and stuff myself, but if this gouache has anything to say about that, then I might agree that Winsor & Newton is not the way to go. Really liking it. Feels so smooth and creamy. That's fun. That's the thing about oils that I've been really into lately is even though I can't use a method that I'm comfortable with the oils, the sensation of that like buttery pull of the paint across the canvas makes it a lot more lucrative for me to want to paint in them because it just feels so good to paint with. It's like literally like butter. There's no drag, there's no stickiness. It just like glides across the page. You love oils too. The oils, like there's got to be some happy medium somewhere. I was trying what's it called? The water, not water mixable. The long dry acrylics. The Golden Open Acrylics brand has long dry acrylics, and I tried that the other day in the hopes that it could be something I could use portably, but still have the feeling and the sensation of oils. When it comes to blending and stuff. But it did not go the way I thought it was going to go, and it did not feel like oils. It felt like hell on earth. Worse than both acrylics and oils separately. So I don't know if there was some user error on my part that made it that way, but I'm still searching for something that kind of feels like oils do and has that functionality, but just doesn't have the added cleanup and the like long, really long dry. It's hard to take oils on the road, right? Like it's hard to do it outdoors. It's just kind of a pain. Use Cobra brand. Yeah, that's the oils I have as well. The water mixable Cobra oils. I do have just a miscellaneous assortment of old oils, like standard oils, back at my parents' house that I intend to grab when I go visit next week. Just because I think the bigger color palette would be helpful. But I just have a small assortment of the Cobra water mixable oils as my oil paints, and I really like them. I've been very happy with them. I just got to do it more often so it feels more natural to me, I think. I hate the open. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. Maybe there's a method, and if I learned the method, I would feel differently. But I don't have that method yet, and so I don't feel differently. I just don't like them. But I'm going to give them a couple more tries before I write them off entirely. Because I just have them and I don't want to just ditch them. So, but also I'm definitely not investing anymore until I'm sure that I can actually work with them. They'd solve a lot of problems for me if they would work, but they just feel like crap. Their coverage was bad. They felt terrible. I've got to be doing something wrong. I don't know. Gummy acrylics, gummy bear. Yeah, they gummy is the word. Sticky. For some reason, so sticky. The complete opposite of that beautiful buttery oil feel of that like the brush. It's so yummy the way it just like floats across the canvas, and it's like painting with hairspray. The open acrylics. I don't know. It's just awful. So tacky. But alas, I'll keep trying. Like I said, maybe with enough practice. I was using water to thin them, and I tell that that's a bad move. That you need to use the open thinner instead. So I do have a tiny bottle of the open thinner that came with the set. So I'm gonna try that, but still don't have high hopes. I'm not holding my breath anyway. But I really like medium jumping. I don't know. I think it's fun to have the versatility of knowing how to use all the different types. And I think there's always certain situations where the pros and the styles of a certain medium are just going to kind of come across better than the other options. So I like to keep it diverse. And paint a couple of these spikes, fence posts in now. Little hobbit house. You want to live there? Me too. I I love the hobbit lifestyle. I live in a city right now, which I also love. I'm kind of a like person who's split between being a little country mouse and a little city mouse. Can't make up my mind, but one day when I'm older and I want to properly retire, I intend to live in the country in a pretty little hole somewhere. I just love gardens, and I like the relaxed atmosphere the Hobbit lifestyle seems to have. I want to read books and eat snacks and go for little walks in the gardens. Just sounds like the life. Not to ruin the fun, but it's almost 7. I know it is 7. I said I have until 7:30, for sure. And I can maybe push it like almost like close to 8, but that means I won't have any time to eat my horrible microwave spaghetti dinner before I gotta go. So we'll see. We're getting close though, so like it's such a small area left. It's such a little small area left. But I don't want to do another stream of this, so we gotta hurry up. Ding 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 dinner. Should have bought that country church. You should have. That sounds great. There was also a church that I had my eye on in this region in the country a while ago that I didn't pull the trigger on that every time I think of, I'm like, damn, I should have bought that thing. I just love the country. I don't know. I like gardening. I like animals. I want to own a cow. Just a little cottagecore baby at heart. I don't know. But at the same time, I want to live in the city and be able to go to punk shows. Why can't I have both, okay? Why can't I have both? Look, I don't want to hear any. Don't you my spaghetti microwave dinner. Look, I don't have anything to eat that's prepared right now that isn't leftover spaghetti from last night. Because last night I made spaghetti and I made too much spaghetti, and now I have leftover spaghetti that I can't throw out because I can't waste the food. That just seems rude when it's perfectly good food. But that just means the only dinner option I have tonight is microwaved leftover spaghetti. And I know that sucks, but that's what I'm looking at, okay? You know Italian? Yeah, no, I definitely ain't no Italian. I'm half Filipino. You should. If anyone knows anything about Filipino cooking, it's that Filipinos bastardize spaghetti. I personally don't like Filipino spaghetti, but Filipino spaghetti is like basically sugar sauce. The pasta sauce is so sweet, it's disturbing. Like it's spaghetti candy. It's awful. It's terrible. It makes leftover microwaved normal spaghetti seem like a great idea, honestly. But like I said, I don't want to hear any judgment. I'm not wasting my spaghetti just because it sucks. Just because it sucks and it's leftover, okay? I don't have that kind of money. I can't throw out good spaghetti. Yeah, I made it. It's not like a like TV dinner spaghetti. It's leftover like made at home spaghetti. It's too big and too much land. 5 acres and 40,000 square. Okay, 40,000 square feet is pushing it. And I don't know, 5 acres is good. I think in my retirement scenario, 5 acres would be about what I would want. I wouldn't do more than 10 acres. 5 acres seems okay though. And honestly, like 3 and under seems like too little. Put an egg on it? I don't know. Put an egg on it. Does that improve microwave spaghetti? Is that a real suggestion? I'll put an egg on it. If you dare me to, I'll put an egg on it. I have that power. Oh, chef. You old sweetie, you. Thank you for the sub. Wow, 5 out of 10. You guys are too nice. You're far too nice. You know that? You guys didn't get an alert for that, did you? I didn't hear an alert for that. Did anybody see an alert for that sub come up? I switched all of my alerts over to Twitch alerts instead of Streamlabs alerts, and now I'm assuming that maybe they're not working. Nope, nothing. Shoot. Okay, I'll have to look into that after stream. Very suspicious. You'll buy it if you and Goldie cut the grass, because I won't. Okay, well, Goldie definitely won't, because cutting the grass is Goldie's like least favorite chore ever. I'd consider it, but I'd be more inclined to just not cut the grass and let it go to hell. Reason he pictured bumper mower. Honestly, we'd do it if you bought 2 mowers and it was like it was a versus and we were in a competition to see who can cut more grass. Then maybe we'd do it. State Farm Batman commercial is really exciting. Chef, I have no idea what that means. Just get goats. You don't need to cut the grass yourself. True, goats. It's a good call amount of meat. Just get goats. And then when the goats eat all the grass, you have a bunch of goats. They'll make more goats, and then you know what you can do with those goats. You can turn them into mounds of meat. Turn those goats right into mounds of meat. Then there'll be so many mounds of meat. And no grass. Means today was a good day? What means today was a good day? The State Farm Batman commercial means today was a good day? I don't know if that's the metric I'd like to measure my days in, but you do whatever you believe. Well, I'm sorry you missed out on your sub alert, Rothel Iron Chef. I can describe it, what it would have been like to you if you like. You would have seen a floating head animated from Spirited Away raise into picture and then go, well done. And that would have been it. That would have been the whole thing. That's all that would have happened. You didn't miss that much. You just would have been well done by the river spirit. Okay, I've got this like area back here where in the picture that I was using for reference, there's like a little table and some vegetables on it and crap. I don't know if I care or have time for that. So I'm thinking instead we just put a big bush here because it doesn't matter and I want to not do that and we're running out of time. So we're putting a big bush here instead. And if anybody has a problem with that, they can take it up with HR, which we don't have. So your complaints will fall on empty ears. Sorry. You like the funny voice I used, though? Good. You got that at least. You get to enjoy my bad voice acting instead of the clip. This premium entertainment. Should I go into voice acting? Is that my calling? Yeah, so we're gonna do that, and then we're going to another one behind it. Raise it up a little bit. What happened here? Okay, well, we're gonna make it come all the way up there because there's a smudge there that wasn't supposed to be there, so putting it as part of the shrubs now. Anybody has a problem with me simplifying for the sake of speed, I don't want to hear. No, you shouldn't go into voice acting. You need, what's the word, experience. No time like the present, what do I know? Do you need experience? I feel like you just need to know some people. Maybe get yourself a good manager. I would not be good at voice acting, though. An entire job based on reading aloud? Yay. Sounds like my nightmare. Chef, that poem that you said you thought was the best love poem ever written, you're gonna hate me for this. I didn't like it. I'm sorry, but I didn't like it. I really wanted to like it, and I respected it, but I didn't like it. You're pretty good at voice acting? Really, Chef? You're colorful. Do you have a good voice for voice acting? I hate my own voice personally. When I have to check my VODs to make sure the levels and stuff were okay, and I hear myself speaking, I'm like, what is this what I sound like? Why does anybody listen to me? I wouldn't listen to me. I don't listen to me. It's part of my problem. It's not everyone's cuppa. You have a good voice for clowning. That's a skill. Clowning's an important skill. What else? You had me read a couple of them. I liked the Robert Frost. Not my favorite Robert Frost, but I did like it. The Birch Trees one. I thought the Ode to a Grecian Urn was cute, and I respected it, but it wasn't really my thing. It's just a little too, what's the word? Coy for me? I liked the T.S. Eliot, probably the second best. I thought it had the most interesting concepts, and I liked his Prouse better than some of the others. And there's one more I'm missing that was my favorite. Which one is the one that I'm thinking of? That was my favorite. I'm blanking on it. It was one of the first ones I read. Keats is a maniac. I liked the Eliot, and what was the other one? 1 second, I should be able to figure it out. I wrote, when you mentioned those after stream, I wrote them in a list somewhere. The Night House, the Billy Collins, that's it. The Night House. That was my favorite of the ones you recommended. That's the one. That's the one I liked. That's the top tier. Of the ones you recommended that day, those are the ones I wrote down. So there was the Robert Frost, the E. Cummings, the Billy Collins, the Love Song of Alfred J. Perfect, and Ode to a Grecian Urn. And yeah, the Night House was my favorite of those. Followed by Love Song, and then Robert Frost, and then Grecian Urn, and yeah, the E. Cummings was bottom tier for me. Yes, The Night House. That was the one I liked. So if you're going to give me any more poetry suggestions, that's the direction you should go in. Go in the direction of The Night House. Horoscopes for the Dead by Billy Collins and 4 Quarters by T.S. Eliot if you're looking for full-length chapbooks. Interesting. Okay, I'll give them a look at. I have been reading a little bit more lately, so I'll download some stuff onto my Kobo and see if I'm talking now, and I'm wasting away the precious half an hour I have to be painting this. But yeah, that one was definitely my favorite. So I'll look into those and I will read them, and I'll see what I think. But yeah, I like poetry. I like poetry that evokes imagery, beautiful imagery, and it does it in a way that the word choice is surprising, but very descriptive, and creates lasting word imagery as well as visual imagery for you, if that makes sense. You prefer lightning? Lightning Picnic's my favorite Billy Collins chapbook. So snarky and subtle. Horoscopes of the Dead is more direct and conversational. Interesting. I'll look into both. I'll download them both anyway, and then when I have some time, I can give it all a look over. But I'm open in terms of length. Like I don't really mind long poems. I don't really mind short ones, just as long as um the structure of them is interesting to me and the word choice is interesting to me and it evokes imagery that I find interesting. Sentiments about what makes good lyric poetry. Words need to be descriptive on some level. They can't just be nonsense all the time like E. E. Cummings. Yeah, it doesn't literally have to be story based necessarily. Because in a lot of ways, like the T.S. Eliot wasn't particularly story based. Like it's very rambling. But I like if it's not story based for the theme to be subtle but present and understandable, without having to do a lot of like research or digging afterwards. I liked the Eliot because it was complex, but not in a way that you need to like look up what the point is. You can get there yourself. You just have to kind of be more awake while you're reading it than you do some things. Also enjoy the madness too. You like the idea that my mind can be reprogrammed. The high modernists, T.S. Eliot being a prime example, were good at that. They were precise with their words in a way that was quite new and critically interesting. Yeah, I just find language interesting. And so in poetry that like I am interested in like interesting use of language that is not undecodable. The idea of being able to communicate in a way that is non-standard but still completely understandable to the layman, I think, is where I find like my my impression of a poem comes down to whether or not I think uh, a person who doesn't necessarily study or have deep interest in poetry could read it and still come away with it with something, if that makes sense. Oh, I'm running out of white. But yeah, I just find I think I have more patience now than I used to for poetry. I obviously had to read a lot of poetry when I was in high school and university. And I think I was a lot more judgmental of a lot of it than I am now. I think I have more of a openness and understanding to it as an art than I did at the time. I think you should be able to read it once and get it. However, there are even exceptions to that for me. I don't know if it makes sense to draw a line between what I love and what I want and what I value. Maybe the melting of my mind is a useful thing. Yeah, that's fair. And yeah, there's like exceptions to every rule, right? Sometimes being bamboozled and being forced to dig deeper and think harder can be a really good thing. It just kind of comes down to situationally if it's successful or not. But I think everything in art is not a hard or fast rule, right? You can do everything right and end up with an art piece that's just not interesting. And similarly, you can do a lot wrong and end up with something that moves people, even though it's critically like, or not critically, but technically not good at all. But that isn't always what matters in art, right? So art is just a very interesting subject. Critical analysis is great, don't get me wrong, but I want to create something too. The whole point of love or hating poets is because I want to become that. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel the same way about art. There's a lot of great art that I don't like at all. I've never been a big fan of Impressionism. I openly declared my hate for the Group of Seven all through university. But that doesn't mean I don't respect or value what their work brought to the community, and it doesn't mean that I don't value their like innovation or anything like that. So, like I said, it's all an interesting thought experiment a lot of the time. Who we are in comparison to the art that we make. Avoid the red pen, the slash, and the burn style of editing. I want to grow understanding from the people I work with, and that is also how you approach your own writing. I don't know if I think I'm pro slash and burn. I've always been kind of pro slash and burn with my own work. I don't know how I feel about it with other people. Maybe this is one of those cases where if I thought about it with the kindness that I allot other people, I would not feel that way. But when I think about me and my habits and stuff, I can't give myself the same graces. But yeah, I definitely, even in visual arts, like I was very close to just tossing this painting. Because I feel like it's not as good as it could be, and I feel like I probably could have spent this time starting over or deeply editing parts of it and gotten further, but like I said, it's all strange and up for debate. I want people to read a poem and feel transported to a space, captured by an idea. It's not a story I'm telling so much as I'm communicating an experience. Not every poem I write is good, Nikki. I don't publish them all. Well, that's fair. I don't think anyone can make good stuff every time they make. That's asking too much of anyone. But yeah, at least you know what you want from what you're making. That's something that I don't really have. Sorry. I don't know why every time I stream I end up getting like a runny nose. And it doesn't happen to me normally. Is it talking? Something about streaming makes my nose run. I think I might be allergic to you guys. It's not good. You have to get allergy medication. I really envy that you know what you want out of the work that you make, because I have no real concept of what the goal is for me making art. I sometimes struggle with figuring out which of my art pieces I think are successful or not successful, because I have no real metric that I'm actively measuring any of it by. And that's just the way that it goes for me, unfortunately. I don't know that I care a lot about it moving other people or other people caring about it. But I also think having a standard that caring about my art myself, like it moving me or changing me or me being proud of it, also just isn't a metric that I think is particularly true or attainable. So I don't really know. I'm like I said, I envy that you seem to know why you make and what you're striving for. Whereas when I finish a painting, I'm just like, I don't know, is it technically good or not? That's all I can measure it by, and I don't think about it very much more than that, unfortunately. Can send you some of my poetry. I feel like I've prefaced your existence enough. Yeah, I'd love to read it. If you have Instagram, you can DM me it on Instagram. I don't have a Discord or anything yet, so that would probably be the easiest way to send. But yeah, I would love to give some of it a read. I find people's art really interesting. Even people's art when it's not really my taste. I have friends who make music and friends who paint, and I have just friends who make all sorts of different art, and a lot of them don't do styles or things that are particularly my cup of tea, but I end up really liking what they do because I like the reflection of them that I see in it. I just think it's really interesting to see what people care about and what kind of words they choose or what kind of imagery they choose to pursue. I'll learn your real name in that case. No big deal, you're not famous. If that's no good, then you can just link if you have a way to link it, or you can't DM on Twitch, right? Are you in any of the Discords that I'm in? I'm in Kels's Discord. I'm painting Badly's Discord. Oh, you already sent it? Well, I'm gonna know then. Oh, I'm gonna dox you. I'm gonna tell everybody. My real name is public knowledge, so I'm not worried about people finding out my real name. I decided when I started doing this that there was no point trying to hide it, so if anybody wants my real name, it's not hard to find, so. Oh, a bunch of your stuff is on Kels? Yeah, I'm on a couple of the artist discords. Like I said, I'm on Kels, I'm painting badly, so that's always an option in the future. But it's too late, you've done it now. I'm gonna find you. Ooh, I'm gonna know that name. But I'll probably just keep calling you Chef because you are a chef. Alright guys, Goldie's home. We've got like literally 15 minutes before I literally cannot stay any longer. And we're like so close, but yet so far away. It's close enough that like there's no world that I'm streaming this again. So if I don't finish before I have to go, then I'm just gonna finish it later tonight off stream, and I'll upload it to Instagram or whatever, so you guys can see the finished product. Hi Goldie.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. You're just finishing this up?
Yeah, exactly. I know I only had a short time today, so I figured it'd be a good to try and get this done, so that we can stop throwing our bowls of chips and stuff on top of it.
I got free cheese.
You got free cheese?
And free almonds.
No way, I was just monologuing about how expensive cheese is and how we mooch off my parents to buy us cheese because cheese is too expensive.
Some people get it for free.
That's crazy. Free cheese. Some people have all the luck. trying to work and mix faster so that we can get it done and you guys get to see it healed before I leave, but you're really passionate about language? I don't blame you. Language was extremely interesting. I don't know what you could describe my passion core as. Probably has something to do with form. I'm passionate about learning how things are made and function. A lot of my hobbies and crafts come from wanting to like fully understand the inner functions and workings of a thing. And honestly, a lot of my interest in art is understanding how to make a medium work for you. So
I misheard form as corn.
yes, I'm very passionate about corn. It's got the juice. To be fair, I am actually pretty passionate about corn.
I think you're more passionate about potatoes.
I am more passionate about potatoes, that's true. But when it's like late summer and the Ontario corn is in season and you go and you buy like 10 cents an ear of corn and like it's crisp and perfect and sweet and juicy, man, that hits different. It's more than a tool. Silence can destroy a healthy mind. The words are part of us. I've never been silent long enough to be able to know. I think I would go crazy. I've lived with Goldie for so long, like I don't know how people who are single and live alone do it. You gotta have, I guess, other people in your life that you talk to really regularly, because I just like to say things all the time. And honestly, I think Goldie likes to say things more than I like to say things, so I think we'd both go a little nuts if we didn't have each other. Form has interested me a lot lately, especially as it pertains to narrative theory. Hi, Goldie. Chef says hi, Goldie.
Hello.
He's doing the dishes right now because he's a good boy. He's a very good boy, and I didn't do the dishes before I started stream because I'm a bad girl. I don't earn my keep very well, what can I say? But yeah, form, I don't know. I like I said, I really like understanding how things work. And I really like physical, like hand-held manipulation. I like being able to build things. In a perfect world, when I am really old, I will be able to say that I could build a house and literally have built everything in it. Like, literally everything in it. And I've got a lot of those skills already, but I've got a long way to go. Metalworking is one of the areas that I have basically no valuable experience in. And so at some point I would love to do some metalworking courses, or at least just like self-teach. Because I'd love to learn how to make jewelry. I'd love to learn how to make small metal pieces like hinges and doorknobs and stuff. One of my knowledge holes that one day I hope to fill. Used to obsess over nominals, especially agents of change. A noun plus the suffix er. Interesting. My interest in language is more from a like social context. I find etymology fascinating, and I find things like slang and the evolution of language really interesting. More so than the actual like arranging of language in writing. Keeper, rounder, slapper. Very interesting words to me, especially their colloquial usages. There's a theory that even the syllables are getting shorter in English to accommodate our quickening pace of life, but how could we know while it is happening? Yeah, it's all fascinating. I don't know. I even find the idea that I feel like the same person I was, say, 5 years ago now, but if I listened to myself speak 5 years ago, I probably would assume I was crazy and sound wildly different. There's so much slang that we pick up, especially with the internet, like on the daily. You don't realize how much it seeps into your daily life and how many words you start using all the time that are just like a silly slang that you picked up on Twitch. End up saying things and catch myself now like copium or whatever, and I say them around people like my parents, and they just give me this blank expression like, what the hell are you saying right now? And it's just interesting that a lot of stuff like that we pick it up without even actively trying to. You just hear it so many times that it forces its little way into your daily life dialogues. But yeah, it's all very interesting stuff. What are you eating back there, Goldie?
Beef stew. It's my passion.
It's your passion? These guys were judging me earlier because I told them that the only thing I have to eat for dinner is leftover microwavable spaghetti.
Well, you had beef stew, but...
Well, I knew you wanted the beef stew. I made you that beef stew for your birthday. I wasn't about to eat the last serving of it on you. That's your beef stew.
What's wrong with leftover spaghetti?
I don't know. They were chirping me for it. Goldie really nails those entrances. Such panache. He's got that hot soup. Those are some good emotes. Technically, it's stew, okay? It's too thick to be soup. Ay, ay, ay. How much time we got? Oh, okay, we're really pushing it now. Okay, we've just got a couple things in the front here. We got like a single bush and another bush. We don't really need the I was gonna add some like taller flowers and stuff and some vines and what have you. I don't think we actually need them. Gotta leave and eat din din, so it was real. You like the bush. You're absolutely growing into your superpowers. Thanks, Chef. Hopefully I'll see you around soon, and I will look up those other poems and report back. Thank you for the recommendations, and thanks for hanging out. I hope you have a really good din din. I hope it's better than microwaved spaghetti. Okay, we really have to get this bush in because we're almost out of time here. I need a bigger brush. Pack in the dark. Tack her in there. And we're also going to make another color. To pack in another bush situation down here. And we're going to throw a fan on it when we mix up the highlight colors. We have to wait for this. Might as well mix up some pink as well. Put a couple flower guys down here. Try and get some color in. Get a little bit more color in here so that it looks like stuff is flowering. Now let us chop some bright colors in here. And I'll use some straight yellow for this one, I think. we're pretty much there. Into the pink. Try and brighten this up a bit. Some of those are a little on the opaque side, so. And frankly, I think we need some itsy bitsy little tiny flecks of yellow on a couple guys. There's the door is very yellow, and I think to temper the brightness of it, if we just put a couple dabs here and there. It'll just help it tie in a bit better. Okie dokie. I'm calling them done. And I don't want to hear about what percentage me calling it done is, because I am out of time and I don't want to come back to working on this ever again.
Quite nice.
Thank you. Okay. We quit, right? We absolutely quit. We're gonna have to throw the name down in the left corner because there's no room in the right one today. Okay. We'll zoom you guys out so you can see the full thing we're looking at, and we will peel, and then I have to go. Here she is. She's done. We're saying she's done. How done she is, I don't know. She is done enough. Thanks, Internet. We sort of made it. If I peel really fast, I'll have 5 minutes to eat spaghetti before I have to leave. Okay, well, let's peel the first layer of tape off, the one that's holding it to our board. And then we'll get this washi out of here. So glad you were able to watch this from the sketch to the peel. Thanks for sticking around for all that time. It's pre-peel. Now let's get peeling. Hopefully he comes off nice. Generally speaking, the washi tape doesn't let me down, so it's pretty good. Pretty clean line. Maybe a slight bit rippy, but to be fair, I did leave this tape sitting on for a long time. Any tape, the longer you leave it sitting, the more likely it's going to be to peel bits of your paper with it. No bleed though, that's good news. Okie dokie. There she is. All done. All finished. Hold her up a little for you guys. Give you a little close up. We may have taken some cheats to finish this front garden faster than we would have if we had followed the reference, but things turned out all right. She's kind of cute. The colors maintained more vibrancy than I thought they would based on how much white I was adding into things, so I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. And unfortunately, I do now have to run, guys, so thank you very much for sticking around, whoever is still here, whoever was here, even though you're not here anymore, thank you for being here. And I might be back tomorrow. I don't know doing what, but I may be back tomorrow, so thank you guys all, and have a lovely, lovely night. Bye, 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 bye.